After World War II, Texas ran headlong into the modern age. For starters, the state got smaller. Transportation had always been a challenge in Texas, and roads had often been primitive and scarce. The railroad boom of the late 1800s and early 1900s had connected communities in new ways and facilitated shifts in populations and the growth of its major cities. Trolleys and interurban lines helped connect neighborhoods and suburbs. However, trains followed schedules and timetables, which forced Texans to either shift their itineraries or go out back and hitch the horse to the buggy and get around like the old days. Then came cars. Automobile ownership in Texas had grown steadily over the previous 40 years. In 1900, there were a little more than 3 million Texans, and there were more than a few hundred cars across the entire state. In the 1920s, Texas was nearing 5 million residents who owned about 350,000 cars. By the end of that decade, motor vehicle numbers had tripled to the point that there was an automobile for at least every 4 residents. Cars were starting to be a common sight in the Lone Star State. By the 1950s, more than 2 million cars rambled along Texas roads. By the end of that decade, more than a fourth of all Texas households had more than one car. Texans were going places. Cars were everywhere, which meant Texas needed roads. In cities and towns, dirt roads gave way to gravel, concrete, and even paving bricks as construction techniques advanced. The Bankhead Highway stretched from Washington, D.C. to San Diego and passed through northern Texas from Texarkana to El Paso, while the Jefferson-Davis Highway connected the Sabine River to Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and connected with the Bankhead Highway in Van Horn. Other roads followed. Eventually, federal laws created a numbered highway system of 2-lane roads across the country, with even numbers going east to west and odd traversing north to south. Still, these routes could be primitive compared to modern highways. The first urban expressway in Texas opened in 1951, connecting Houston and Galveston. In 1956, the United States created the Interstate Highway System, which would lead to the construction of Interstates 10, 20, 30, 35, and 45 starting in 1959. Most would take decades to complete, and others would follow later. With cars rolling out of factories in huge numbers, Americans needed gasoline, which comes from oil, which comes from Texas. By 1950, the Lone Star State had far surpassed every other state in production of petroleum products. Filling stations, what we would call a gas station today, sprang up everywhere.
I'd like some gasoline, please.
Yes, sir.
So did pump jacks and refineries. Texans had about 60,000 oil wells in 1935. By 1960, that number had more than tripled. Oil men Sid Richardson, Clint Murchison, H.L. Hunt, and Hugh Roy Cullen became some of the wealthiest men in the country, and national magazines and newspapers wrote hundreds of articles about Texas and its newfound wealth. While most of these oil tycoons avoided the press, men like Glenn McCarthy loved the attention. He mixed, mingled, and brawled his way into celebrity circles and the national spotlight. In the 1950s, the combination of cars, roads, and oil created modern Texas.